I'm just gonna fucking wing it once we know that we're live. Because I don't think we had any technical difficulties, so obviously I had to forget something. Because it wouldn't be a World War Weeb podcast if I remembered everything. That just can't happen. So, Orphan, go ahead and check and make sure we're live.
Oh, for Pete's sake, somebody should have like a. Never mind.
No, say it.
I was going to say, it's like, you need to have like an organizer or somebody, like someone who works.
That's supposed to be me.
Maintenance or something, right? Yeah. So.
It's my podcast. I'm supposed to be doing it, but I haven't. Like, I've gotten so. Here's my problem. I've gotten super organized. Like, you have no idea. I have gotten so organized this week, and then nobody joined my organization tool, and I'm a little salty about that. Oh, Yasmin. First of all, thanks for coming on time. We haven't even done the official intro or whatever, and you got here before the bot.
the bot deleted my message in announcements. What the fuck?
What? Oh, you might have to. That's still there. That's weird.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Oh, well, anyway, welcome back to World War Weeb, where we ask you just one question. What is wrong with Orphan's Discord?
Good question. I don't know. I'm not on it.
You know, I'm not on it either, so I guess that's a moot point. Let's ask a different question. Yeah. What have you learned from anime? Because that's our topic for the day.
Better question.
Also, yes, Bagels, you've been beaten to the chat for once. Suck on that.
Don't complain.
Suck on that.
Oh, I almost didn't introduce people. My name is Josh, aka Josh in the Shell. This is my stream with my fellow host, Orphan. Our third co-host, Boba, is unfortunately sick today, so she will not be able to make the podcast, but we do have Chris, one of our first guests, back on the podcast for today. Say hello, Chris.
Yeah. I know I'm the only person who cares about that, but you know what? I don't care.
All right, well, anyway, so like I said, we are going to be talking about what we learned from anime. And I think I'd like to start this off with the man who I have in the thumbnail, which, if I remember his name correctly, like, my brain's saying Sugawara, but I don't think that's right. I now have to look this up.
He looks like a character from Gundam.
He's actually from Yu Yu Hakusho. Was it Mr. Iwamoto? It was, yeah, Mr. Iwamoto from, I almost blanked on it, from Yu Yu Hakusho. What I learned from watching him was obviously, if you want to provide a good education, actively work to frame your least favorite student for high crime. I think that was a valuable lesson that I learned.
Who was running that plan? The Umbrella Corporation? You know?
I mean, no, it was just Mr. Iwamoto being a strangely devious school teacher in a show about a spirit detective who shoots energy blasts from his finger. He finger bangs his way through life.
Yeah, because that's not terrible enough as it is.
Okay, yeah, Yumiko, I do have to ask, can you say Storm Bad? Are you talking about a character, or are you talking about the storms going on throughout some of the U.S. right now? I have to know. Context is everything.
Anyway, getting back on topic, or at least
I will now proceed to pleasure myself with this fish.
No, we're not doing that one anymore. This is a different topic. Pay attention, Orphan.
God damn it,
Chris, you are a little quiet, so I might sometimes have to just quiet myself and Orphan down. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, you might want to talk to Yahtzee about how well that and the entire whale thing that he has going for him is going. I don't.
I did a big think motion since I don't do face cam.
Yeah, but okay. So getting back on topic. So here's what I've learned: sticking a phone into a microwave and texting it will create time travel. Because of course it does.
Oh yeah, and I think that's what caused the big fiasco a few years ago with all those iPhones. You remember that?
Yeah, with Apple Maps and everything, just completely being absolute trash.
I love how that and like that was such a short-lived thing that like Apple Maps was terrible for like a month or two, and then like it just became the meme that Apple Maps are bad for like the rest of time.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. That just still amuses me, but yeah, I was actually referring to that time when everyone, like so many fucking people, believed that sticking your iPhone in the microwave was the way to charge it.
Did they try texting it?
No, because they couldn't. Because it exploded. Oh, hey, King Style, how's it going? We have a full house today. Storm Driver, King Style, Bagels, Yumiko.
Oh, everyone's here. Oh no. Oh no.
Let me see, Bagels. Did you all learn that to avoid getting the shit kicked out of you, you just need to begin a long-ass monologue and maybe talk no jutsu them out of it?
And speaking of bad shonen cliches, here's another one. There is nothing which cannot be resolved by everyone screaming at each other for 20 minutes.
Oh, hey, Dragon Ball.
Yeah. And My Hero Academia and Bleach, and I can go on from this.
Yeah.
I have about 20 pages about this.
The unfortunate thing is I can believe that. I can definitely believe that.
I pay attention. Pay attention.
I've also learned to believe in me that believes in you, that believes in me, that believes in you, that believes in me.
Or, if you want to go the abridged route, believe in the me that believes in the you that believes in the One Piece.
It doesn't mean anything.
You know what? Sometimes life is just pointless, and you just gotta go with it. I learned that from Cowboy Bebop. I mean, like, that's a weird thing. Like, we're coming up with so many jokes, but there are some genuine, really interesting lessons. Or not even lessons, but just, I don't know, like, explorations that you can have in an anime. You can get really, really deep with this stuff.
And speaking of dark, let's keep it dark. Just because you watch harem shows doesn't mean you'll have girls at your disposal.
But you forget, what if someone wants to become the harem king? What?
That doesn't exist.
Well, not yet. But imagine we've had the Pirate King wannabe, the Ninja King wannabe, the Wizard King wannabe, and I guess you can call Aizen the Death King wannabe. So what's to say the next Shonen Jump adventure won't be Adventures of the Wannabe Harem King?
Well, it already someone exists. I mean, it's High School DxD. I mean, that's...
I mean, you're not wrong. And that's a whole nother episode we'll get into. An entire episode of You're Not Wrong.
Yeah, and I'll probably join that for that too.
So, anyway, back to what we learned from anime. We might want to, instead of just coming up with one-liners, we might want to explain what we mean by some of these. So, So getting back to my first one, have y'all seen Yu Yu Hakusho?
Yeah.
Yes, but not recently.
Okay, so Mr. Iwamoto was the guy. Basically, he tried to frame Urameshi to get him kicked out of school because he didn't like him and he thought he was a delinquent, and he went out to prove that he was a delinquent. And like, there would be times when like Urameshi was late to school because some kid was getting picked on, and he was like, "Ah, no, I'm gonna beat up the bully," or like he was late to school because some other reason where it's just super wholesome, or he just didn't care. And Mr. Iwamoto was like, clearly he's up to no good and bringing crime to the neighborhood, and like, oh my god, calm down.
Is the main character dead? You know, because like, how are you grounding a dead person? You know?
Yeah.
It's like that's on page 25 of plot holes.
He was played by Ed Blaylock, and I'm trying to remember who else Ed Blaylock played, because he just sounded so fucking sinister.
I don't know either, but back to what I was and I actually have a list for this stuff. As I was explaining to Josh prior to this, that I have a list.
Hey, a list is not a bad thing. Unless you are afraid of lists, in which case that could cause extreme anxiety.
There's a planning joke in there somewhere, but I can't think of it right now.
You know what? It'll come to you in the middle of the night when everyone else is asleep, and you'll be like, "Oh, it's comedy gold," but I can't say it.
Like a low.
Oh, god damn it!
Use it for the next joke. You know, is that also if you're a Gundam pilot, you're automatically a new type because you can't throw a bowling ball without hitting a new type in those series. Values the whole thing actually.
Okay, sorry, Bagel says, well, to be honest, all you teaching a bully that is beating up a kid by beating them up is you can beat up those who are weaker than you. Clearly a great role model. Very cool. I'm sorry, I can Nuxtaku better than that. Very cool anime. Very cool. But, I don't know. I'll probably get into a more serious stream about that at some point, because I think that's a topic that should be addressed. But anyway, this is not that serious stream. This is fucking World War Weeb. So let's not do that.
Oh no. The Weebs are attacking your heart.
So before we get into Orphan's examples, because we all know that Orphan will only discuss JoJo. Chris, what's another example from your list?
I was going to say, well, this is more of a standard operating procedure for a certain meta series. J-pop plus missile overkill equals meta series gold.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm gonna do a walkthrough of that because that just kind of that hurts my brain a little bit.
It's Macross.
Oh fuck, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
How do you not realize that?
Because I'm brain dead.
Because it's the J-pop plus the Atano circus plus the fact that Macross is technically a meta series. Too bad you'll never see it unless you happen to know some people. Is that it's Macross? It's not hard, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, you're not wrong. Well.
Also.
Oh yeah.
Also, if you're watching a series directed by Kunihiko Ikuhara, don't expect it to make any sense. Ditto with Masaki Yuasa.
What about Araki? Araki hardly ever makes any sense either. But Araki's good.
Yeah, I tend to make a joke, but then again that'd be shit posting. And to be fair, I'm kind of that's kind of lazy. But to be honest, there's a great joke that's coming to my head right now, and I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. But it's funny.
All right, I'm just gonna read the comments for a second because some of these are quite humorous. Just from 13 King style. Hey, Yogi boy. I for some reason can't. I can't remember how to do the Pegasus voice, either the abridged or the real one. It was like,
hey,
ooh,
Yogi boy. Ooh.
ooh.
Take a look at my tune cards, Yogi boy. Ooh.
And then Bagels with the absolute facts right here. When you're making a serious topic not serious, you just add very cool, very cool. Instantly makes it not serious, or use the world instead of the world. And instantly it is not serious, and it is pure comedy gold.
AKA lazy. That's lazy writing.
And, well, it's, in some cases it's lazy on purpose, and that's the joke. But that is another topic entirely. So, speaking of Zawaldo, Orphan, do you have some JoJo for us?
So, I've learned that all you need to do to become fucking immortal and vastly popular with nearly everyone is just to shit on some rich kid's son, then stick a stone mask on your face, and boom. Immortality, bitches.
Are we talking literally? Because at some point this channel does need to be monetized. So are literally shitting on his face?
No, just being a complete dick.
Oh, okay. I need to know these things for monetization purposes.
JoJo is all kinds of fucked up.
Yeah, it's an experience, to say the least.
In the first
One of
series
which I
alone,
am
in the first
not
episode,
interested in.
like in the first
this goes
series,
back. Well, this will go to a macro thing about what I learned from anime because, but we'll get into that in due course.
Yeah, we'll probably end up getting to the more serious stuff in a little bit, but
gonna have some fun.
God damn it, I hate when like I scheduled this so I would have this stream on the day that I have the least work on, and somehow I'm still brain dead at the end of today. I think part of it is genuinely because I tried to make everything more organized and get everyone on point with making more content for the channel, and then like nobody joined the Airtable, and I'm like, guys, join the Airtable.
I mean, I would have joined, but it would have been kind of a bit different.
Well,
Saber actually came in with something really good just then.
Oh, want to read it out for us?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay? Because I'm looking at my TV right now.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. So Saber says, I learned that you don't have to do any research to make a show popular or likable. It can spit in the face of other cultures' folklore, Yu-Gi-Oh!, or be scientifically inaccurate. Sword Art Online.
I will get into Sword Art Online later, because there is a serious thing that I learned from watching Sword Art Online that affects me even to this day, and I think that's, God damn it, Bagels. Very cool, Saber. Very cool.
I've learned that Japanese can be creepy when they're talking about second cousins. Anyway.
Oh, God, yeah.
You want to get demonetized, kid?
Well, we're not monetized yet, so yeah, we can't be demonetized.
That conversation's going to happen at some.
I know.
we seriously have to get into that at some point. Like, legitimately, what the fuck is up with Sword Art Online and it's fucking weird depictions of like family and fucking weird shit? Because
okay, that was season 2, the forbidden season. The season,
well.
no, sir, the season that didn't fucking happen. We can all agree that
season 1 had that with the a bit.
No, it did not. No, it absolutely did not.
That was season 2. Yeah, you're right on that one.
Damn it, Bagels! You're just making this worse. You know what? I give up on all of you.
Oh, God.
Just brief plug for the Discord server. Below in the doobly-doo, on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube, depending on how you're watching this. We do have a link to our Discord server. Most of the people in the chat right now are from the Discord, and they're up to their usual shenanigans, and I'm both disappointed and proud at the same time. I don't know how that's possible, but I am.
You'd be
Also,
surprised.
Saber brings up another good point. Of the justice system is totally screwed up in most anime, but to a particular extent, Phoenix Wright anime.
Yeah, because you're expecting realism from Phoenix Wright. I hate to break it to you, kid, but it's not accurate. It's a game.
Open your mind, Kaiba. Yeah, I'm sorry, I really like that line. I like doing a Dan Green impression just in general. I'll be honest.
Oh no!
I need to do some laundry. Wait, no. I need to do my laundry. Do you have some change?
I'd like to borrow a cup of sugar, if you can spare it.
Anyway, back on topic.
Okay.
Well, I think, Chris, do you have any more comedic ones before we get serious?
Yeah, I have a couple.
All right, well, lay it on me.
Okay. If you're watching a sports anime, you're either a Fujoshi or have worse problems.
Oh.
Also, if you're watching a series written by Ishiro Okushi post-Code Geass, expected to have a terrible, terrible ending. I learned that from Devilman Crybaby. Yes, I don't care. Yes, I know that.
I will fight you on that one.
Yes, I know that's how it was in the manga, but you know what? This is an adaptation. You're allowed to change things that don't work.
I know. I do think it works, but that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother podcast we can have. Let me see. Bagels. Oremo taught me that it is okay to have a relationship with your sister as long as you do it in high school and have like 3 to 4 more other girls and marry her and me. No, Bagels, no, it's not okay.
No. You cheeky dick waffle.
Yeah, I'm just ignoring that right there.
Oh no.
Why,
Bagels was so good for a few episodes, and now he's back. He's back to what he was. Oh.
You know what? Wait. We've got normal bagels, and then we have spooky bagels. Bagels, I should say. Normal bagels, spooky bagels.
Indeed.
Anyway,
Bagels, I'm back. God damn it.
Anyway, one other joke one that I have is if it's overhyped, it'll be either of two things: terrible or good. Usually the former.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most anime these days, with how much anime they're pumping out and how much stress, like I've gotten to talk to a few people who legitimately do animation in Japan recently. And God, they're so stressed out. And I know other people have like gotten like legit interviews. Mine was not a legit interview. I just in passing managed to speak to these people. But like there's so much anime getting pumped out that 90% of it is going to be junk because you can't like gatekeep it to only let the good stuff through. You let things through because, well, we want to make this thing. Let's do it. So 90% of anime is just garbage. But because of that culture, and I'm going to swing this all the way around to the serious thing I was going to bring up about SAO, because of that culture, there was a lot of time there were a lot of time constraints on Sword Art Online, and there was a lot of studio studio interference from the background that resulted in so many problems coming up. Like they had to rush through some things. Like if you look really closely, there are things that, I mean, they definitely could have written this better. They definitely could have done better, but there are points where it's like, well, actually, this is a 2-year time skip. All of the character development that we're missing probably happened in that 2-year time skip, and there's a lot of seeds for good character development that would lead to this in that time skip. So what I ended up learning from SAO was I figured out that I could watch something if I knew enough about the production and everything going on behind the scenes, the things that go into making it, which it does help that I have worked in film for almost a decade at this point. Like, I have that experience. I know what it's like to an extent making shows like that. So I'm able to look through that and see what it could have been while I'm watching. And that's how, like, even though I know 90% of The Legend of Korra is hot garbage, I still really, really enjoy it for all of the good things and all of the things that it could have been had X, Y, or Z not interfered. And I have that same thing with SAO. Like, I genuinely enjoy the first season of SAO, even though I admit, no, it is bad. It has a lot of flaws. There are problems with it. But I enjoy it because I can see what could have been and what they wanted to be. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand what you're trying to say.
It means that even while acknowledging that things are garbage, I can enjoy more things, and that, I think, is one of the greatest things that you can have, is just be able to enjoy watching things.
Yeah.
So
I
anyway,
can relate back to Planet Gun. I can relate back to Trigun, the Trigun movie,
oh yeah,
actually, because it was going someplace awesome. They didn't have enough time. They hadn't worked on it for a while. Night Owl hadn't done anything with it for a while. So great ideas, but average execution. So it's, as with your Sword Art thing, it's still one of my favorite things, but still. Also, the actual anime in that regard, too, because they changed a lot of it, and they had some good ideas, but they didn't execute it as well as they should have.
yeah, and there were certain things that, like, very, very subtle, very, very subtle changes in the abridged series that I think, like, had they been in the actual series, someone made a comment. I was rewatching the abridged series recently, and someone in the comment section was saying, after like episode 2 or 3, it stopped being a parody and started being like a reboot of Sword Art Online. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Lady Saber. Yeah. Chris is just quiet. Discord is just quiet for him usually.
Because I have nothing to say on this, because Sword Art Online wasn't my thing. Is that I try to get people involved in it in the anime club that I was in, but our president, who I'll call as dumbass, said that it's like, I don't like the series. Well, it's not about what you like, sweetheart. It's about what's popular. And if it's popular, it sells tickets. And you know what? I don't want to hear about. And I should have gone off. I should have gone off and told her how I really felt, and yet I didn't.
Hindsight is 20/20, and so is next year. That was a terrible joke, but I stand by it. Don't fucking judge me.
That was a bad pun. But honestly, but it's back to the overhyped thing. And speaking of overhyped directors, who I wish people would just calm down about. On the other hand, Makoto Shinkai's work will always be overpraised, even if it's good. Can we please stop, as a media, stop trying to pitch this idea of the next Miyazaki? There will never be a next Miyazaki, okay?
I think that's partly from people not like people who are reporting not actually knowing very much about what they're reporting about, which is part of the issue with games journalism. That's been a problem for years, where games journalists will not actually be good gamers. And so it's like, like I can't remember what the game was, but there was a game that came out like a couple months ago that someone reviewed, and they could tell from the complaints that they had about the story that they had it on the easiest mode. Because the easiest mode didn't have all of the story options or something to that effect.
Wait, what game was that?
No, I said at the beginning, I can't remember it. I'll look it up later, but
I can definitely say that one games journalist, not naming names, but you couldn't even finish the tutorial of Cuphead. Get out of here! Get the fuck out of here!
Oh no!
Oh my
Oh, I
God.
remember
Can
that.
I rant on this for a second, please?
Go ahead, but then I'll get us back
Oh.
to the topic of the quote next Miyazaki.
Okay. Just so I can get this off my chest, do you know how fucking much it annoys me? The games journalists are pining for an easy mode for absolutely every single fucking game in existence when one can't even finish a fucking tutorial?
Yeah.
God fucking damn it. I'm visually impaired. I'm legally blind. I have finished Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, 3, Sekiro, fucking Bloodborne, Demon Souls, and I've done the 3 Dark Souls no-hit runs. I'm legally fucking blind.
I feel
How am I better than games journalists?
I feel like if you were to meet these games journalists in person, you would do so while holding a giant foam gaming controller and start whacking them with it until the gaming controller foam breaks. I see this happening, and it's glorious. But back on the Miyazaki thing, I compared it to that because a lot of journalists talking about anime movies, like I remember, God, and again I'm blanking on the name, but the guy who did Your Name, he was compared to Miyazaki,
Yeah.
and like the anime.
Shinkai. That's Makoto Shinkai.
Oh yeah. So like when they were talking about his animation and his storytelling, they were like, "Oh yeah, next Miyazaki and this and that." He's like, "No, he's not the next Miyazaki. He's the first him. He's not going off of Miyazaki. It's a completely different style of writing, a completely different style. Well, because with Miyazaki, there's hardly any writing at all. They make the storyboards and then they put words to it later. But with Shinkai, he actually wrote out the story. Like he had a vision for the story, and that's another one where so much like SAO, they had time constraints and they couldn't do everything that they wanted, and they couldn't make the perfect, most coherent story. But I love what he did with it was to truncate it and make sure people felt what he wanted them to feel. He graphed out their emotions on a graph, like at this point you should be feeling this much of this emotion, and he literally graphed that out, and then that's how they formulated how they're going to write and animate things. And I think that's a brilliant workaround for that, but the light novel does go into more detail about things he couldn't talk about or couldn't fit into the movie. That's another one where like the constraints were there, but in this case it made it even better by even more emotionally impactful, I should say, through the constraints.
I mean, I'd get into his work, but I just want people to stop praising it to high heavens and it's like, you know what? If you keep praising it this much, I'm not going to see it. It's not that hard. Same issue that I have with Mamoru Hosoda.
Well, yeah, and he's even come out and said that like stresses him out so much when people say he's the next Miyazaki, because then he feels like he has to do something amazing for his next project.
Yeah, as it should. Like, why are you comparing anyone to Miyazaki? Miyazaki's a fucking fluke. Do you know how hard it is to make so many movies and shit that people absolutely fucking love? That's a goddamn fucking freaking nature right there.
Like, you
can how many
learn.
of them were actually great, and most of them are. Is that heck? Even my favorite director of all time, Scorsese, had one or two duds in there.
Yeah.
And let me put it to you this way: it was Martin Beep and Scorsese. The fact that he has duds and yet Miyazaki seemingly doesn't says something more about the quality of Miyazaki's work. Well, I don't know if it says now. What's the phrase I'm looking for? Oh, it says more about how hard it is to make a film in general than it is than it is for anything else.
Oh yeah, I mean if you watch the credits of anything animated, if you watch the credits of any modern film, they're made by armies. Like no joke, they're made by hundreds if not thousands of people. And if they're not made by hundreds or thousands of people, especially if animation is involved, that's even more impressive. It is insane. But yeah, back to the topic of the day. We got on a few tangents there. So that was one of my more serious things I wanted to talk about. Before I do something else and get us into even more tangents. Anyone else want to jump in?
I've got kind of a funny one, but kind of a serious one as well. You can do anything as long as you put your mind to it, even if you're an ex-gang member who's looking to become a school teacher.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Almost anything.
Yeah. Yeah. God damn it.
God damn it, I love GTO.
Yeah, I've kind of tuned out. What are you guys saying? Can't help you there.
GTO.
Well,
Yeah, I know what the series is, and I've heard of it. Is that it's just I don't care.
I have a couple things that I'm going to say that I learned from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. First thing I learned was that no matter how close you get to the manga, if you add in more anime cliches to a thematically gothic story, it will seem goofy, silly, and out of place.
Not surprising.
Which is why the first 6 episodes of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood still to this day infuriate me on a fundamental level, because they just... so much wrong with them. And it's what turned me off of the series for the longest time. But I find it really fortunate that the first time I watched it all the way through, I was influenced to do that by watching the bloopers. Because the bloopers were so incredibly hilarious that I was like, okay, they obviously had fun making this. Let me go back and really see what this is about. And then I went through it, and I really, really enjoyed it. But then a couple years later, I read an older manuscript known as the Hermetic Arcanum, which, in short, is a manuscript that details articles of Hermeticism, which is a form of philosophy and kind of a spiritual journey. And it also discusses how to achieve the creation of a philosopher's stone. And what's really fascinating is that the Philosopher's Stone in the Hermetic Arcanum is both a literal thing that they were hoping to achieve, as well as a philosophical metaphor for bettering oneself. And what I love about that, about Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, is once I got past the first few episodes that were quite honestly just kind of rushed through because they assumed people had already seen the original anime. Once that they got past that, Ed and Al, but mostly Ed's character arc were based on following the path of realizing the truth of the Philosopher's Stone, not just existentially, not just the actual stone in the anime, but what was so beautiful was at the end of the day, you are the Philosopher's Stone in this philosophical metaphor of the Hermetic Arcanum. By the end, you have cultivated in yourself the perfection or nirvana or whatever. It is embodied by the imagery of the Philosopher's Stone, and Ed found that. Ed literally made, in one of the last few episodes, in the final fight, Ed made himself into a one-man Philosopher's Stone to get into the fight. And I was like, that is so perfect. And there's so much symbolism in Brotherhood that relates to the Hermetic Arcanum and the symbolism involved that I'm just like, holy shit. Oh, anyway, getting to the comments, I'm just gonna read these out.
Yeah, as I said, I just kind of said okay, and I was like, whatever.
Yeah, sorry, I get really passionate about that kind of stuff. Let me see. So Bagel says, Assassination Classroom taught me to strive to pleasure a woman, even if she a bitch. At Mach 20. Food Wars taught me that food can be sexual, so now I cook. Well, haven't you heard of natural aphrodisiacs? Haven't you heard of clams?
Yeah, they're. Yeah, never mind.
Anyway,
That joke was
moving
too
on.
easy. That joke was way too easy. Is that
What else have we got,
so
guys?
So now we get into the serious stuff, or the macro stuff, as I like to call it, because it's kind of outside of everything. Is that anime fans can never agree with other anime fans on anything. This is a known fact. This is a known fact, and it's one that, if it's not that probably isn't discussed much, but let's face it, that we know in our deepest of hearts is absolutely true.
I mean, if earlier in this very podcast was not an example of that,
Yeah.
I don't know what was. Like, we've had disagreements already, and we're only 40 minutes in.
Yeah, that's kind of. What's the word for screwed up? Oh, never mind.
I don't know. I'm just gonna go with topical.
Yeah.
It's very topical, like the
okay,
fluoride I use.
So, anyway, getting back to the macro stuff and the more convention stuff that I've noticed is that most surrealism panels seem to be copying each other as if they're sitting next to each other in class, and seem to have some rather ominous connections, so to speak. And by ominous, I mean the people that they have ties and they've met are not good people. Call it a hunch.
Hang on. No, I got this. Okay, I think I've thought enough about that.
Yeah.
And I'd say you're right.
Is that where everyone seems to be copying everyone else? It's like who can rip each other. It's like a rip-off Olympics or something, you know?
Well, I mean, at a certain point, like, you can't have all the ideas. No idea is original. But at this point, so much shit is coming out. So much anime is coming out. So much content on YouTube is coming out that eventually it's like, you were obviously influenced by someone else, so you're either copying them directly or were so heavily influenced by them that it's just going to look like you copied them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, at least I'm admitting every time I make a reference to Nextaku going, very cool, very cool. Like, both Bagels and I fully admit to making this this reference because Nextaku says it so well, and just referencing him is clearly content.
Is that, and then the other thing is that, and this is more about like anime companies and everything, but getting to the top usually involves more backstabbing than an average episode of Game of Thrones.
This is very true.
With significantly equal or less than amount of nudity, depending on your definition.
Yes. Which, I mean, does Attack on Titan count for nudity? Does that count?
I don't think it does.
Not really. I don't count it as such.
Well, I mean,
just the giant.
I mean, we've seen Aaron shirtless now, so that's a step in the direction of nudity, I guess.
And as someone who doesn't watch the series, my theory is okay. I don't care. Move on.
Just a brief note about the translation of the title of Attack on Titan. No, not Shokugeki no Soma. Jesus Christ, Shingeki no Kyojin. So there's a few ways you can interpret that. So like the attack of the Titan is one way to, or just attack of Titan. Or you could interpret it as the Titan's attack. But instead they go attack on Titan, which made me think, and apparently I was not alone in this, it made me think that it was like a sci-fi thing, and it was on Titan, you know, Jupiter's moon, Titan. Like, that's what I genuinely thought that, and it turns out, no, it was just a terrible translation, because one other translation is Attack Titan. The Attack Titan. is probably the thing they were going for, because guess what? Now finally in the anime, and I know it's in the manga too, but in the anime that most people are watching, because people for whatever reason haven't been reading it, like, Eren is the attack titan. That is his titan type. He is the attack titan. And in the Japanese, they do say that Eren is Shingeki no Kyojin. And I'm just like, where is the on coming from? How do you translate it so badly that it makes mass confusion, but now you can't change it because it's been going on since... Wait, when did Attack on Titan first come out?
09?
09? Something, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
It feels like it's been going on forever anyway.
No, I'm going to look, because I think the anime came out in 2011, but I'm going to double check. But it's
Actually, I think I might be beating you to it. Yeah, the series began in 09, called it. And then the anime series started in 13.
Oh, 13. Oh, wow, that's a lot bigger gap than I thought. But yeah, so the series itself started in 09, and it was like, the moment it was translated, someone did it wrong. They did it because they did not want to spoil it? No. Because then it's like, oh, we don't want to spoil it. Well, like, it's still wrong. There is no version of that translation where that is correct, and it bothers me.
Don't let it.
Like it doesn't, like, legitimately bother me. It bothers me in the sense that I can rant about it. So yeah, when I say something bothers me, I normally don't actually... I'm not really bothered by things. So if I say it bothers me, it's more that I can go on a rant about it. If I say it angers me, then I'm actually upset by it. Just a little linguistic lesson of understanding Josh.
Okay, fair enough.
Orphan, did you have anything else from JoJo, or was that literally it?
There's always if you want to grow stronger, you just got to learn how to breathe.
Well, you know what I learned from JoJo? If you want to make epic fighting grunts, obviously all you have to do is write down what you think a synth piano sounds like, and then wait for people to try to pronounce it.
Oh god. Also, that actually does bring something up. I learned that the West loves to get anal about changing the goddamn names of things. Holy shit. The amount of change they had to do to the stand names and people's names and shit is fucking...
You want me to give you the simple explanation for it?
I know why copyright. They did it. I know why, but here's the thing. Why would the people in the music community care? Like, they've got the names, sure, but it's an anime. It's not like they're trashing the real people.
Okay, so here's the thing. The music industry is anal about everything, and I know this from companies I used to work for, and I know this from learning copyright both in the industry and in school. Copyright law, like there's a whole bunch of... And then the music industry did weird shit, and we don't quite understand why, but now there's precedent for that in court. Like the whole like Apple versus Apple Records thing, because Apple, the computer company, Apple Computer, the computer company, got sued by Apple Records because they thought they were infringing on their copyright, and it's like, guys, it's not how that works. And like music companies have been doing that like ever since. They've been doing so much stupid shit. Like, no, that's ours. Oh, no, that's ours. And even on YouTube, like I've already gotten a few copyright claims, both on my old channel and on this channel. And it's like, sometimes they're super, super dumb. Because I've gotten a lot of false flags on my old channel.
Wait. Was it Warner Music Group?
Only a couple times did I get Warner. My old channel was back when Viacom was the big the big bad of claiming things. But I also had like these weird, like I think I've seen other creators get this too. There are these weird like people you've never heard of claiming like sections of your audio, and it's like it was during times where I was like, no, I wrote that music, I created that music.
Yeah, someone by the name of Kierwodnik Worodowski has fucking claimed your video for like fucking a minute's worth of thing. It's like, okay, so you're pretending to be Universal Music Group, but your name is. I fucking hate people. The copyright claims on YouTube are just ridiculous.
Well, back in 2010, I got a copyright claim. So just a little backstory: the current channel that I'm on right now has been around since like 2011, I think. My channel before that, I had the channel up and running since like 2007. And on my channel before this one, there was a copyright claim. This was back when you could claim like 2 seconds of audio.
Oh god.
Yeah, so they claimed 2 seconds of they claimed 2 seconds of a song that I wrote and used for background music for a video that I made. It's like, that's like, not only is that like such a short period of time, but it's like, how do you even try to prove that? Oh, and Bagels, they weren't even claiming it on behalf of someone else. They were saying it was their song.
Yeah.
Although I guess you're referring that to Universal Music Group claiming things on behalf of other things. Yeah, the music groups. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a Time Warner, like 2 days ago. I played Arkham Knight for 30 fucking minutes. I was at the title screen for like 2 minutes because I was talking with people on my stream.
Yeah.
And apparently, they copyright claimed my entire video, which was 39 minutes, for fucking less than a minute of audio. So I said, fuck you, and deleted the fucking video. Suck my dick. God, I fucking...
But he's not angry about it, you know. That's...
I am angry. I'm trying to get back onto YouTube. I'm trying, because, like, since talking to everyone and being on YouTube servers and whatnot, I've actually wanted to get my channel back. Like, I had a good channel going, I nuked it because of family shit, like, grieving stuff, so whatever. That's not important, but I nuked it. And so I was like, you know what? I should do this again. I actually have the drive to do it again. And the first day I try to fucking upload something, lo and behold, fucking copyright claim. I didn't get a strike, thank fuck, but...
Yeah, I can definitely understand the feeling of wanting to just nuke your channel and then later being like, you know what, maybe I should. Although with me, I nuked my channel and then I was like, but I still want to comment on things. So I literally just made a YouTube channel to comment on things, and I didn't like put any effort into the channel itself until like last year. But anyway, just to bring this full circle, I did finally locate where else I had heard Ed Blaylock, because I was like, so bringing this all the way back to the Yu Yu Hakusho reference at the beginning, the teacher trying to frame the student for being a criminal because he doesn't like him. And he was like livid when it turned out that he wasn't dead. Because part of the beginning of Yu Yu Hakusho is him dying and then being like given a trial so that he can be reunited with his body and then continue as a spirit detective. And like this fucking asshole was like, oh no, you're a Messi is alive. So I found out what else he did, and that it makes it so much better.
Oh, God,
so the guy who played Mr. Iwamoto, the asshole teacher, also played Führer King Bradley in Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes!
It makes it so much better.
That's fucking perfect.
Yeah, I'm just staying out of this one because honestly, what the heck do I have to say about this? Although I will agree with, because I'm not in the industry, but I read a lot about the industry, because again, is that if I can't be involved in it, I might as well read up and know everything about it because knowledge and power is that sort of thing. So I know what they're relating to, or I know what Josh is talking about. It's just I'm not going to say it because I don't want to sound like an idiot because I don't actually have the quote unquote life experience, but I've read a lot about it.
I mean, honestly, me personally, when it comes to people talking about things, as long as you don't tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, because that seriously, that genuinely pisses me off when people are like, well, just because you work in the industry doesn't mean you know. I'm like, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I mean, I don't know if you ever heard the story about Casablanca Records in the 70s, where there was a story from one executive where he was calling an artist and he said, well, listen, I got to call you back. My desk is literally on fire.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
Did you ever read the Frederick Dannon book Hitman?
I don't think I have, no.
Okay, because they have like a whole chapter about Casablanca. It sounds like the world's biggest coke party.
It probably was.
And for some reason, part of me just wants to get a time machine and go back there and just kind of experience it because it sounds like it's so crazy. It's like you'll probably never ever wonder what the heck happened. Unfortunately, yeah, no mind.
Yeah, there's a lot that's been lost to time.
That just makes me wish you could throw a phone in a microwave and invent time travel for real.
Time travel makes a lot of issues.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think that... Hang on. I need to write this down. Because I just realized, you know what? We could totally do a podcast just about time travel anime.
Oh, God.
So I'm just going to make a note of that real quick. Cool. Okay. So, that being said... I like how Bagels noticed that you change your name every stream. Dude, he changes, like, he was already changing his name, like, every week. And then we started streaming, and it's just, yeah, he just does it. He enjoys it. And you know what? We let him do him.
It's fun.
Yeah, I noticed.
You never know what I'll be. You never know what I'll be each podcast. It's a bit of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking at it like, who the heck? I'm like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, like literally until we start getting more people in the Discord, which this will be a nice transition into the closing, the closing plug for our Discord. But until we get more people in the Discord, whenever you say, "Wait, who the hell is that?" It's probably Orphan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that being said, we are gonna go ahead and...
yes, that would be good.
Having Dark Sharigan on for
yes.
Yeah, I still need to actually watch Inuyasha because yeah, I only know the basic plot, and so like the way that I understand it is it's
basically Twilight but anime.
No, but see the way I understood it was Stockholm syndrome with a fox or wolf demon or dog demon, whatever.
That's pretty much the explanation that I've gotten out of it too. So don't feel bad there.
Anyway, so after this, we are going to be in our general nonsense voice chat for the server, which is called the Social Otaku. There is a link to the Discord in the description below on Twitch, on DLive, and on YouTube, so please join there. We have lots of fun. It is where we gather to have fun, have an open and caring community of nerds, and also, if you were interested, I am a professional charisma coach, and those are services that I can offer through that Discord server, so if you are interested in improving your social skills, improving your sales, improving your relationships in general, I can help with that. But we're mostly here for fun, let's be honest. So, we'll see everyone in there, and until then, bye-bye.
Thank you and goodbye.
See you all and watch football on Sunday.